So, Dr. Keenan, tell me a little bit. One of the biggest problems in our community, of course, is sickness. Talk to me a little bit about prevention.
So from a prevention standpoint, one of the key things, we know mental health is, and attitude is all important. A lot of the work, though, I do as well is surrounding nutrition.
Yeah.
And really for prevention, this is where one of the key points that we really do need to focus on. So the first with food is thinking about the quality of the food that you put into your body. So for me, paying attention, first taking some time, like we had discussed about to slow down when you're going to eat and not eating in a rushed manner.
Yeah.
And then think about what is going...
Sitting in the car eating.
But then the quality. So for me, it's about whole foods and healthy fats.
Yeah. Healthy fats.
Right.
We were told to stay away from them.
So we've been fearing fats for years and years.
Yeah.
And we know for sure the deep fried fats that you're going to get are full of trans fats. This is not the fat I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about healthy coconut oils, avocado oil, olive oil, which we know, it's a staple of the Mediterranean diet, which has been shown again and again to be a very good way for us to eat. But butter...
How should you get olive oil? What should you buy? Like there's 100 kinds of olive oil.
So you want to buy extra virgin olive oil. And so what this means, it's generally the first press. I've been fortunate enough to go to an olive farm in Italy.
Really?
And so what they do with olive oil is they take olives, they're stacked. They've got pits inside them. And essentially they press the oil out, just like you would press an orange.
Yes.
So think of it as the first squeeze of an orange or lemon.
That first oil is the best.
The first oil, so that's called extra virgin.
Yeah.
But then what they'll do is they'll take those olives again, they'll run them through, and then the third press, that's where we get a lot of the olive oils that are on the shelves. So if you look for extra virgin olive oil,
what about,
that's
is
the key.
it cold pressed or something?
Cold pressed, then there's no heat. It's literally, that's right. There's no heat that's used in the extraction. So it's literally just pressing the olive to get that pure oil out.
Wow. And how does that compare to coconut oil?
So it's a different balance of omega acid. So there's different fatty acids that are in it, okay? So omega extra virgin olive oil, we know has a high sources of omega-3s and omega-6. When we're looking at things like coconut oil, there are saturated fats in coconut oil, but it's a healthy type of saturated fat. If we look at the breakdowns, they have caprylic and capric acid, that's what's a constituent of coconut oil, and that on its own can actually have some healing properties for the body. So they work very different ways in our bodies, which is why when I talk about healthy fats, I mention several of them, because in my diet, I get several of those oils every day.
Okay. Olive oil, coconut oil.
Avocado oil.
Fish oil.
Fish oil, of course, right? Omega-3s, and then butter and ghee. So those would be kind of the main constituents of my diet.
Yeah.
Part of the worry with oils and fats in general is we all need a certain balance of omega-3 and omega-6. Generally, canola oil, corn oil, safflower oil, or sunflower oil, because they're based from seeds, they're going to have a very high amount of omega-6. Omega-6 is very inflammatory to our body. So part of the reason that we want to substitute with omega-3s with our olive oils, with our fish oils, is because we want to change that balance of 6 and 3, because we want more 3 and less 6.
Okay.
When our body gets in that state, it's very good for our hearts. It's very good for for arthritis.
And our brains?
And our brains. Our brains are full of fat. And often when people go, and the craze was of low fat,
yeah.
We don't realize that our brain is a fat organ. It's made of fat. It needs high levels of fat for it to function.
Really? We've been starving our brains.
Yes, and we've been filling them with high sugar-based foods. And what often happens with the sugar-based foods is that sugar is sticky, and it goes to our brains, and we get worried about things like Alzheimer's disease and dementia.
Yes, I worry about that. My mother had that. My uncle had that.
Right. But a lot of that is very sugar-based, because if we have a high carbohydrate diet, like lots of sweets and potatoes and pasta, those sorts of things, and if we're not getting a good balance of healthy fats, so sugar's floating around, plus inflammation is floating around. So we really have to make that switch.